You open TikTok, 10 minutes pass. Or was it an hour you've watched 42 videos? One made you laugh, one made you cry. You don't remember the rest, but somehow you want more. This isn't just a habit, it's your brain on the feed. Welcome to GENSHIFT. This feeling of lost time of a scroll you can't seem to stop isn't a personal failing. It's a design feature. Our digital lives, from the videos on our For You page to the music in our Spotify daily mix, are governed by algorithms. These systems are more than just code. They are powerful psychological engines, and they are subtly yet relentlessly rewiring us. Subscribe to GENSHIFT. We decode the feed before it decodes you. If this feels familiar, you're already caught in the loop. Today we're exploring the 5 critical ways these algorithms are reshaping how we think, feel, and see ourselves. This is Brain on the Feed, how the algorithm rewires us. The attention economy, the battle for your brain space. Let's start with the most valuable resource you have: your attention. In the digital world, your attention is currency. Every second you spend looking at a screen is a microtransaction, and tech platforms are locked in a zero-sum race to capture as much of it as possible. This is the attention economy, and the algorithm is its master auctioneer, selling your focus to the highest bidder. The mechanism is deceptively simple. It exploits our brain's ancient novelty bias, our hardwired attraction to anything new and unexpected. The feed delivers an endless stream of novel content, creating what cognitive scientists call a high cognitive load. Each new video, meme, or headline forces your brain to context switch, discarding one mental framework to build another. Studies show it can take over 20 minutes to fully regain deep focus after an interruption. When you're switching contexts every few seconds, deep focus becomes impossible. The result is this short-form spiral. We develop a craving for rapid, bite-sized information, and our capacity for sustained thought begins to erode. The average human attention span has reportedly dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to just 8 seconds today. We become masters of processing a fire hose of shallow information, but we lose the ability to engage in the deep critical thinking needed to solve complex problems. We're not just distracted, our cognitive endurance is being systematically dismantled. This rewiring manifests differently across generations. For millennials who remember a world of dial-up and long-form reading, this fragmentation feels like a loss, a new frustrating deficit in a capacity they once had. For Gen Z, the digital natives, this fluid, fragmented attention is the default setting. They are masters of multitasking across multiple screens and inputs, processing information at a speed that can seem bewildering to older generations. They weren't rewired, they were wired for this world from the start. But what does it mean for a society when sustained attention is no longer a universal skill? The erosion of deep thought isn't just a personal productivity problem, it's a societal one. It impacts our ability to engage in nuanced conversations, to solve long-term challenges, and to simply be present in our own lives. But the battle for our attention is just the beginning. The algorithm isn't just after what you see, it's after how you feel. Emotional manipulation at scale. The algorithmic rollercoaster. Algorithms have learned a powerful lesson about us. The stronger the emotion, the higher the engagement. Content that sparks outrage, empathy, envy, or shock is systematically amplified because it's more likely to be liked, shared, and commented on. This has turned our feeds into an emotional roller coaster, designed to keep us in a state of constant, low-grade arousal. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a business model. Researchers call it effective economics, a system where our emotional reactions become data points to be optimized for profit. Studies auditing platforms like YouTube and X have found that their algorithms disproportionately amplify negative and angry content. This creates a feedback loop. We are exposed to emotionally charged content, which triggers a psychological phenomenon known as emotional contagion. A massive Facebook experiment proved that emotions can spread through a network like a virus, influencing our own moods without any face-to-face interaction. This leads directly to behaviors like doom scrolling, the compulsive consumption of negative news. When we feel anxious, our brain seeks information as a form of control. The algorithm provides an endless stream of distressing content, and each swipe gives us a micro hit of dopamine, reinforcing the seeking behavior even as the content itself deepens our anxiety. This cycle leads to digital fatigue and burnout, with a 2024 survey finding that 39% of people are actively avoiding online news because it's too distressing. For Gen Z, who have been encouraged to be more emotionally transparent online, this constant exposure can make them more vulnerable to manipulation and comparison-driven anxiety. Millennials, on the other hand, may be more prone to outrage cycles, their emotional triggers honed by years of polarizing political content. The long-term implication is the commodification of our inner lives. Our emotional state is no longer a private experience, but a resource to be mined. When our collective mood is shaped by systems that profit from division and outrage, it becomes incredibly difficult to maintain emotional regulation, let alone find common ground. Personalized echo chambers, the algorithm as your mirror. Your feed feels like it's made just for you because it is. But this hyper-personalization comes at a cost. The algorithm acts as a mirror, reflecting your own behaviors and beliefs back at you with relentless precision. This creates what are known as filter bubbles or echo chambers, digital spaces where you are shielded from diverse or challenging viewpoints. The mechanism is powered by our own psychology. Algorithms use our clicks, pauses, and likes to build a profile of our preferences, then serve us content that aligns with that profile. This perfectly exploits confirmation bias, our natural human tendency to favor information that confirms what we already believe. Social media platforms become powerful engines for validating our existing worldview rather than expanding it. The result is a society where people increasingly inhabit separate informational realities, making constructive dialogue almost impossible. But the echo chamber is not just political. The algorithm is agnostic. It doesn't distinguish between a political belief and a personal insecurity. If you pause on content related to body image, financial anxiety, or social status, the algorithm learns that this is a powerful way to capture your attention. It will then reliably serve you more content that targets that specific vulnerability, creating personalized insecurity chambers that can fuel anxiety, body dissatisfaction, and depression. Gen Z, often seeking hyper-niche communities for identity formation, may lean into these echo chambers more readily for a sense of belonging. Millennials might recognize the phenomenon of the filter bubble more clearly, having experienced a world with more shared media, but they still struggle to break out of their own curated feeds. The ultimate danger of the algorithmic mirror is a fragmented understanding of reality. When our view of the world and of ourselves is constantly reinforced and amplified by a system designed to show us what we want to see, our capacity for critical thinking is diminished. We lose the ability to empathize with different perspectives because we rarely encounter them. The algorithm knows you better than you know yourself. Does that ever freak you out? Or do you kind of like it drop a for introspection or a for the endless scroll below and tell us your weirdest "they read my mind" moment? Be honest, we've all got one. Identity formation and self-perception. Who am I if the algorithm knows me better? When an algorithm constantly tells you what you like, what to wear, and even who you are, it fundamentally impacts the process of identity formation. For younger generations, the self is no longer just discovered, it's co-created with the feed. The line between an authentic identity and an algorithmically optimized persona is becoming increasingly blurred. This is driven by the like economy, where our self-worth becomes tied to quantifiable metrics of social approval. Likes, shares, and follower counts function as a powerful form of external validation, making our self-esteem fragile and contingent on digital feedback. This environment gives rise to aesthetic trends that function as ready-made identity kits. Subcultures like dark academia or the meta-trend corecore are more than just styles. They are entire packages of values, media habits, and social performances that can be adopted and discarded with incredible speed. This leads to what some call main character syndrome, a mindset where individuals narrate their lives as if they are the protagonist in a movie, constantly curating their experiences for an online audience. It's a direct psychological adaptation to platforms that reward constant self-presentation. But this performance comes with a heavy psychological toll, creating a painful gap between our real selves and our curated digital personas. Algorithmic addiction and existential fatigue, the unending scroll. For Gen Z, this process is native. They often find and express their identity through the feed using algorithmic trends as a primary language of selfhood. Their online and offline selves are deeply integrated. Millennials, in contrast, often feel more fragmented, struggling to reconcile a pre-existing, real self with the online persona they feel pressured to maintain. They are more likely to feel a sense of cringe when performing for the feed, a dissonance born from remembering a time when identity felt more private and less performative. The deepest implication here is that the self is becoming algorithmic. The algorithm observes our behavior, reflects it back to us as an identity, and we in turn adjust our behavior to better align with that reflection. It's a feedback loop where the machine is not just mirroring who we are, but actively shaping who we become. This raises a profound question: what happens to authenticity when our sense of self is outsourced to a system optimizing for engagement? Algorithmic addiction and existential fatigue, the unending scroll. The final frontier of this rewiring is addiction. The feed is engineered to be compulsive. It's built on a principle from behavioral psychology called a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, the same mechanism that makes slot machines so addictive. We scroll because we don't know when the next reward, a funny video, a validating comment, a surprising piece of news will appear. This unpredictability creates a state of high anticipation, flooding our brain's reward pathway with dopamine and compelling us to continue the search. This isn't a metaphor. As Stanford psychiatrist Anna Lemke explains, these platforms can release dopamine in a manner similar to addictive substances. Over time, this leads to dopamine desensitization. We need more and more stimulation to feel the same level of satisfaction. And when we log off, we're left in a dopamine deficit state, feeling anxious and restless. This is why you know the feed makes you tired, but you still scroll. It's why trends like the dopamine detox have emerged, reflecting a collective desire to reclaim our mental control. The consequences are severe. Excessive social media use is linked to impaired executive function, making it harder to plan, resist impulses, and focus. It disrupts sleep, with 78% of users scrolling before bed, the blue light suppressing the melatonin our bodies need to rest. The result is a unique form of existential fatigue, a state of being simultaneously overstimulated and profoundly bored. It's the burnout that comes from an endless scroll that provides constant stimulation but no genuine fulfillment. Gen Z, having never known a non-addictive digital world, may see this as the normal state of being, making it harder to recognize the addiction and disengage. Millennials often feel more caught between two eras, experiencing both nostalgia for an offline past and the inescapable pull of the feed. They are acutely aware of the time being lost, but feel powerless to stop it. This is the ultimate challenge of the algorithmic age. We are living in an environment designed for endless stimulation, and maintaining our mental well-being requires a level of awareness and agency that the system is actively designed to undermine. Conclusion. So here we are. Our attention is fragmented. Our emotions are manipulated. Our realities are personalized into echo chambers. Our identities are co-opted. And our brains are hooked on a cycle of empty stimulation. The feed is faster, smarter, and more persuasive than ever, and it is a powerful force in our psychological lives. But understanding how the algorithm works isn't about fear. It's about empowerment. It's about recognizing the invisible forces shaping our minds so we can begin to push back. Maybe the constant rewiring is a wake-up call. A reminder that we need to slow down, log off, and remember that our brains weren't made to scroll forever. It's time to take back the controls, one wise click at a time.